Hi, I'm Sydney. Welcome back to my Flock and Squawk, and today we are going to be transforming 3 very plain sweatshirts into 3 slightly more unique sweatshirts. So here is what you'll need.
I'm using 3 identical sweatshirts of both brand and size. You can use as few as 2 sweatshirts, and they don't have to be identical, but it definitely helps. Some chalk to market, some good sewing scissors, as well as some thread, and not pictured, but always helpful, is a sewing machine and your seam ripper.
And before we dive fully into this project, I just want to say that please take a look at my channel if you like this video. I do crafting, DIY, vlogs, cooking, you name it, I do it on this channel. So if that interests you and you enjoy this, I hope you decide to subscribe. So let's get right to it.
One of the first things that I did for this project is to pin and clip the shoulders of these sweatshirts all together. My sweatshirts are all 3 the same size. However, I do recommend, regardless on if you are purchasing or thrifting sweatshirts, is to make sure that they are larger than your intended final product. I'm using small sweatshirts, but this project does shrink the size a little bit because you are cutting and adding in seam allowance where it previously wasn't. You can ignore this if you're using other fabric, but I highly recommend sizing up and making sure that your final product's going to fit how you want or who you want. So I just pinned them all together, and then I decided to take off the bottom bands. I realized that it was going to bother me way too much if I simply just cut through them and sewed them, because if they were uneven, that would just be so annoying to me. So I took the time and I seam ripped all 3 waistbands. You can do this before pinning them, or you can just simply cut them off and replace them, or otherwise hem the sweatshirt a different way. I took my time with the blue sweatshirt, which was on top, slowly picking it out until I figured out like a method that worked best. I definitely recommend a seam ripper with the little red ball that you see here. The X-Acto blade seam ripper was just not quite as comfortable, but once I got the hang of it, it took way less time seam ripping. It certainly was like the most time consuming part of the part of the project, honestly. Seam ripping I don't think is anyone's favorite part of sewing, but it was definitely worth this effort to me to preserve these bottom bands. After all the seam ripping was done, I made sure that they were flat back on my table, and I freehanded with my chalk. You don't have to use chalk, but any sort of erasable sewing pen or pencil will work. And with it, I just freehanded on the very top layer. You can lightly see my red chalk here, but I just found a shape, freehanded a shape that I thought would be pleasing, appealing, and I made sure to not go through the neckline so I wouldn't have that same concern about that as I had with the bottom band. Then I just simply cut through all 6 layers of the sweatshirts, 3 sweatshirts, 6 layers. It was a lot of fabric. I persevered and cut through all these layers all at once using a pair of scissors. Depending on your design and comfort level, you could probably get through with a rotary blade. However, scissors worked better for the curves that I did. Also, you could cut through one sweatshirt at a time, and having them laid on top of each other, use the cut one on top as a guide. And here you can see all the layers of the sweatshirts.
So I just cut my sweatshirts all apart, and now comes the fun. We are going to swap these pieces around and make some unique sweatshirts out of them. So I think the easy part is over. Now it's time for the actual sewing part, which could be easy, could be difficult, but let's give it a go. Let's swap these around and see how the first one comes out. So my thought is to have each of them be 3 colors, and then the bottom band that we took off be matching the original, the whatever its neckline is. So we are going to swap things around and make some sweatshirt decisions.
Starting with the center blue sweatshirt, because that's what was on top, I just moved things around and pinned on the first black sleeve. What I found easiest after doing all of these sweatshirts was to pin the shoulder seams of both sides together, sew from the shoulder down one side, turn it over, and sew down the shoulder towards the waistband on the other side. I found this was the easiest just to make sure that things lined up nicely, and all I did for the curves was slightly make sure that everything was lined up under the presser foot, everything was flat, and just gently pulled the curves together. That being said, there was no stretching or anything involved with doing these curves, just careful maneuvering around them. They should line up perfectly since they were cut at the same time.
Woo! I just finished sewing one sleeve onto this, and it's looking pretty great. Ignore all the strings. But yeah, just going to repeat that for the other side and the other two, and we will have 3 of these.
Since we're kind of just repeating what we just did to finish off the rest of the sweatshirts, putting the sleeves on the bodies, may I suggest that you check out a video that I did upcycling a sweatshirt just like this into an adorable puppy love Valentine. I think that video is super cute and also just another outlet for how you might be able to upcycle something currently in your wardrobe, or if you see something out thrifting.
I just finished sewing the squiggles for all 3 of them. They are now back together. The only thing left to do is sew on the waistbands. However, I'm kind of feeling like I need to do something more than just the squiggles. Like, should I do like a little phrase or word across the neckline or something, anything? I'm kind of feeling like this project's a little bit plain, but they've turned out really cute so far. I'm really liking the look and everything. So I'm going to finish up the waistband hem band. And just like that, these sweatshirts are done. But like I said, I kind of feel like they need a little more pizzazz, but that's just me. So I can't really think of what I want to do to these sweatshirts. So I'm gonna leave it open for you guys to let me know what you guys think, suggest. Oh, you can let me know here on YouTube in the comments, or over on Instagram, where I'll put up a poll with the reel of this sweet sweatshirt DIY that we've done. I also really want you guys to let me know if you do this project, your tips, tricks, what it turned out like tag me in those photos. And just, yeah, I'm so grateful that you guys have joined me for yet another sweatshirt project. And you might be noticing a new prop next to me. This is a spinning wheel, and yes, I've been watching Good Mythical Morning. But we are going to let it decide from a few options on what our next video is going to be. The options are here on screen based on the colors, so let's spin and see what our next video is. I hope you've enjoyed this. Like, comment, subscribe, and flock and squawk with me again sometime. See you next week!